Jenny Geddes was a Scottish market trader in Edinburgh, who is alleged to have thrown her stool at the head of the minister in St Giles Cathedral in objection to the first public use of the Anglican Book of Common Prayer in Scotland. The act is reputed to have sparked the riot which led to the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, which included the English Civil War. Background: since the early years of the 17th century, the Scottish Church had been established on the same Episcopalian basis as its English cousin, but was far more Puritan, both in doctrine and practice. In 1633 King Charles I came to St Giles to have his Scottish coronation service, using the full Anglican rites, accompanied by William Laud, his new Archbishop of Canterbury. In the years that followed, he began to consider ways of introducing Anglican-style church services in Scotland. The king arranged a commission to draw up a prayer book suitable for Scotland, and in 1637 an Edinburgh printer produced the Book of Common Prayer, and Administration of the Sacraments, and other parts of divine service for the use of the Church of Scotland. These developments met with widespread opposition. The first use of the prayer book was in St Giles on Sunday, the 23rd of July 1637, when James Hannock, Dean of Edinburgh, began to read the collects, part of the prescribed service, and Jenny Geddes, a market woman, a street seller, threw her stool straight at the minister's head. Some sources describe it as a fold stool or a creepy stool, meaning a folding stool as shown flying towards the dean in the illustration, while others claimed that it was a larger, three-legged cutty stool. As she hurled the stool, she is reported to have yelled, "Drig you colic, the warmayo ye, faust thief, do ye say mass in my lug?" Meaning, devil cause you colic in your stomach, false thief, ere you say the mass in my ear. This was the start of a general tumult, with much of the congregation shouting abuse and throwing Bibles, stools, sticks and stones. Preble reports the phrase "Do ye say mass in my lug" as being addressed to a gentleman in the congregation who murmured a dutiful response to the liturgy, getting thumped with a Bible for his pains, and describes Jenny as one of a number of waiting women who were paid to arrive early and sit on the folding stools to hold a place for their patrons. The rioters were ejected by officer summoned by the provost, but for the rest of the service hammered at the doors and threw stones at the windows. More serious rioting in the streets followed, and the provost and magistrates were besieged in the city chambers, to the extent that it became necessary to negotiate with the Edinburgh mob. At the suggestion of the Lord Advocate appointed a committee known as the Tables to negotiate with the Privy Council. Characteristically, Charles turned down the Tables' demands for withdrawal of the Anglican liturgy, and more riots ensued with talk of civil war. This led to widespread signing of the National Covenant in February 1638, with its defiance of any attempt to introduce innovations like the prayer book that had not first been subject to the scrutiny of Parliament and the General Assembly of the Church. In November of the same year, the bishops and archbishops were formally expelled from the Church of Scotland, which was then established on a full Presbyterian basis. Charles reacted by launching the Bishops' Wars, thus beginning the Wars of Three Kingdoms. In the aftermath of the riots, definitive evidence is hard to come by, and some doubt if Jenny Geddes started the fight or if she even existed, but she remains a part of Edinburgh tradition and has long had a memorial in St Giles. The sculpture which was added recently shows a three-legged cutty stool rather than a folding stool. Around 1787, Robert Burns named his mare after Jenny Geddes and wrote amusingly of this faithful horse. Commemoration. In 1886 a plaque was erected to Jenny's memory in St Giles Cathedral. It was paid for by the philanthropist Robert Halliday Gunning.